Welcome to Government Speak. This is where we'll cut through the government speak to get the information you need about county programs, services, and events straight from the source. Welcome to Government Speak, Contra Costa County's official podcast. I'm your host, Christy Jordan, Contra Costa County's Public Information Officer. And since 1965, Contra Costa County has been a Head Start provider, ensuring access to early childhood education, health, and nutrition services to low-income children and their families, as well as parent involvement. A local panel of parental and child development experts will discuss how the program is a lifeline, a stepping stone, and an opportunity for future success for vulnerable children and families in Contra Costa County. With that, I'd like to welcome our panel of experts. We have Sarah Reich, who's the Community Services Bureau Interim Deputy Director at the Employment and Human Services Department. She was a Head Start kid and has now been on staff for 13 years. Sarah started as a family advocate and worked her way up over the years, supporting the program in various capacities and leadership roles. We're also joined by Ruth Hunter, who's the site supervisor for George Miller III Center in Richmond. She's been working in the county's Head Start childcare centers for 30 years. She started as a teacher and has been a site supervisor for the past 15 years. And we're also joined by Juan de Dios Batis, who's a parent and serves on the Head Start Policy Council. He has 2 children who've gone through the program, and one just started kindergarten. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Well, Sarah, let's go ahead and start with you. Kind of root us in background here. So what is the Head Start program?
Yes, thank you. Happy to start us off here. The Head Start program is a federal program. We are primarily, of course, an early education program. We provide services, though, also to pregnant women, as well as infants, toddlers, and really our primary goal is school readiness. In addition, we have a comprehensive service model in providing services to children and families. So our main goal is making sure children are healthy and ready to enter kindergarten, but also that the families are supported with accessing services that may support their goals or their needs.
How many children are in the program?
Yeah, so we are designed to serve 1,201 Head Start children, Head Start and early Head Start. So that includes our pregnant women, actually, and our infants and toddlers.
That's a sizable audience. How would you describe the local impact that this program has on our community?
I want to stress that we do provide the full day services for children so that families can go to work, right? So that they can also attend school. And majority of our services, our programs are open for extended days or full days, 10 hours plus throughout the community. And we do serve countywide. So we serve in our directly operated, county-operated centers. We have 12 county-operated locations. And we also partner with 5 agencies to expand our reach in the community.
That's a lot of coordination. But this is an application program. So how do parents apply? And what does that enrollment process look like?
Absolutely. So every family situation is unique, right? So we really there's no wrong door to reaching out to us, to accessing services and having a conversation regarding qualifications. So we do encourage that anyone seeking services, go ahead and give us a call so we can start that conversation and really see, how you may qualify or what type of services might best meet the family's needs. So in order to give us a call, I do have the number here. It's 925-272-4727. Or you can also access our website, ehsd.org, for additional information. And there's some link to a way to apply as well.
Okay, great. Just to reiterate, 925-272-4727 or ehsd.org. But you have lived experience. So can you talk about that? Going through the program as a Head Start kid,
Yes.
And now you've been on staff at the Community Services Bureau for 15 years. So talk about that. That must be rewarding.
Absolutely. It really does feel like a full circle sort of moment here in my life to be able to contribute to the same program that actually served my family. So I am a Contra Costa County lifelong resident, and my family, when I was young, fell on some hard times. My father fell ill, and at that point, he was in a coma and came out with some brain damage that required quite a bit of rehabilitation, and he was unable to work. So my brother and I are 15 months apart. That means my mom really needed to stay home, right, to care for her 2 young children under the age of 5, as well as her husband. So, she found the Head Start program. At that time, she wasn't able to work, but the program offered home visiting services. So I was still able to access those really high quality early learning services, as well as comprehensive services. So a lot of what we do in the Head Start program is work in partnership with families on their own goal setting and make sure, I think I may have mentioned this, that they have access to any supportive services that they may need. So a component of that for my family was job seeking, right? So they helped to provide opportunities for my mom to find a job, and she did. So by the time I went to kindergarten, my mom was able to take up employment again, and my brother shifted into actually our George Miller Concord location, which is still in operation today. And he was able to access preschool services there while my mom was able to go to work.
So, think about that kind of whole wrapping around of services with a family. And there's so many different dynamics a family can experience. Just noted in your story. Thank you for sharing. And we know that there are hundreds of those stories that are in the program. So, what an impact. And then, the program can't be successful without the people. And it seems like in the audience or the circle of folks I've met connected to Head Start, they've been there for decades. So talk about the dedication of staff.
Yes, our staff are highly, highly dedicated. They truly are here working with us because they are those mission-driven individuals. And we speak with them daily, obviously. We interact with them. And time again, what we hear is why they've been staying with us for years on end. Really, Ruth here, 15 years in leadership and is because of our mission, right? Yes. And because they have a passion for serving children and family, and they can see the difference that they're making on a daily basis. So
with that, clearly people like to be there. They love the program. The program's getting it's going to a lot of good use for folks who really need it. Can you talk about some of the aspects to it? And then we'll move into the day-to-day of what that looks like. But in terms of monitoring, so, when parents are dropping their children off, kind of walk us through some of the aspects of the program that they can expect.
Sure. I'll let Ruth talk about when they come in and kind of what that feel and look like is from the center-based perspective, but from a management level. And I think what's really important for families to understand is that there's a high level of responsibility for monitoring in our program and oversight. Not only are we a federal program, so there's a lot of accountability there regarding reporting and oversight and quality management. But our management team takes really seriously the health and safety of our families, and we want to make sure that our families do know that. So when we are orienting them, just as we are orienting our teaching staff, health and safety is a focus. We have systems that are really rooted in maintaining health and safety. We have daily checks, weekly checks, monthly checks, for a whole spectrum of health and safety aspects, from making sure there's no tripping hazards or the playground equipment is in good repair, to also ensuring that we have appropriate supervision, active supervision of our children, and no potential for children to be harmed. And those systems, of course, we look at as a management level on a regular basis. And so we're constantly taking this health and safety lens. It's always at the forefront of what we're doing.
We talked about the dedication of staff, but I know the program success is also due to some of the partners. Can you talk about some of those partnerships?
Yeah, we are so grateful to have our community partnerships. As I mentioned, they really allow us to expand our reach, right, beyond the 12 centers that we do operate. We've had some pretty long-standing partnerships. We partner with YMCA of the East Bay, both in East County and in West County. We have a growing partnership with KinderCare, actually, which you may be familiar with. They have locations countywide, but we primarily partner out in East County with them. And then we partner with Mount Diablo Unified School District for Crossroads High School, which is a really wonderful program that supports pregnant teens and young mothers so that they can continue to attend school as they have their babies. And then we also partner with AspireNet, which is a home visiting program that serves the whole entire county there in supporting mothers to have healthy pregnancies, and then with the early days of bringing a baby home into infants and toddlerhood. Finally, we partner with a program out in Brentwood called Tiny Toes. So yeah, we've got a whole array of support out there in the community, whether we're operating it directly or with our partners. But all of those programs are Head Start programs. So the important piece is that the same quality services are there at all of them. All of them are unique, and families get to really choose what works best for their family. But what still grounds us in our centers, and I mentioned around monitoring, oversight, and health and safety, is a component of all of those programs. So priority.
It's great that you tailor to the needs of a family, because no two families are the same, and they don't have the same needs. But also, there's an expectation of consistency in the program. So that's lovely. And so now that we've kind of heard the overarching kind of administrative side of the program, Ruth, you are actually in the classrooms on the day-to-day. Yes. Can you talk about how are the teachers supporting the children? I understand there's a greeting in the morning. Can you talk about that?
Yes. So part of what I do is I look at the whole total family. So when they come into the school, I'm usually downstairs greeting parents also. So when they come through, I'm saying, good morning, hello, have a great day. It's going to be awesome for you, so they can know that there's support for them as they're going into the school. And as they're leaving, your child is going to be safe. As they step into the classroom, the teachers do a health check. And so they look at them, they ask the parents, how was your day? How was their evening? How did they sleep? And so they go through those questions just to get a firm understanding and a foundation of how that child's outcome will be for the day. So if they didn't have a good sleep, we know we need to tailor their learning that day to help them, support them if they're tired, or if they are excited, or if there was a sad situation that happened. We know these things when they first come into the classroom. The teachers individualize all their learning. So from assessments to screenings, when they get to the point of being there from the health check on, the teachers make sure that they individualize what that day will look like for that particular child.
So it's such a seemingly small gesture, but it might be the only time that parents get that interaction where someone's actually asking them how they're doing. And it also speaks volumes about the social and emotional component. Can you give some details about that? What does that look like?
Yes. Social and emotional is a big key for us. We want to make sure we're meeting the total need of the child. and the parents with social emotional. Because a lot of times we always think about education and learning, but we forget that mental health is there. And so we want to make sure that if there's a need that they need, we have people on site that can meet their direct need. Then the comprehensive services staff, they're there on site. They're there to help them. The children in the classroom, the teachers are trained in our second step curriculum. We also have what we call teaching pyramid, which has trained all the teachers in how to deal with social, emotional, and behavioral needs. And so those needs are met right then and there with skills that the teachers all come into the classroom with. And so parents are very happy about that because sometimes separation is difficult. So when they're being separated from their parent, it's hard. And so we have come to the point when I look at my staff and I see them, how they interact with that child who is having a difficult day, and they pull in their educational component of knowing the social emotional skills of the teaching pyramid, of the second step. They bring those skills in to help that child come into the classroom without having to think that they're different or they're separated, but they're inclusive into what's going on that day. So, yes, social and emotional is the biggest part of supporting a child in the classroom.
But there are other services, right? You're also looking at health, dental, nutrition.
Absolutely.
Can you talk about those a little bit?
Yes. We are so honestly blessed to have the services that we have. So our families, if we look at dental, they do have to make sure they bring in a dental. If they don't have a dental home, our comprehensive service staff make sure that they help them get to a dental home. So they'll have a provider that supports their getting dental treatment if they need treatment. We also have what we call Give Kids a Smile Day in February. And that is such an awesome day because we have volunteers that come in, dentists, that come in and check all our children that need that support. And then they also recommend if they need treatment, and we're able to support families to get that treatment. And then we talk about nutrition. We have our kitchen staff, our nutritionist, our person who's over that. They make sure that we have this whole component of making sure our healthy meals come in. But the most important part is that not everybody understands that there's choosy eaters. And those choosy eaters, we meet that need. And it's awesome to see that a child who was not eating in the beginning or was not trying the food, at the end of a few months, they are now eating meals, but they were having a difficult time. So choosy eaters are a big component that we're starting now. And I'm excited about that. I have a lot of choosy eaters. And one story we have is that a child has not eaten. His mother told us he won't eat. But a week ago, he put a peach in his mouth. And that is so awesome because that is a milestone that we can say, hey, he's doing this. And his mom was so excited and just asked us, told me the story. And I looked at her and said, wow, I am so excited about it. The nutrition part, the medical part, making sure all immunizations are caught up, making sure the children are able to go out. And our comp services, again, they're calling parents. They're letting the parents know that, okay, don't forget that their immunizations are due, especially when we have infants and toddlers. I have a preschool site only, but I've worked at an infant toddler site. And that means we have to keep up with that. And they support the families by giving them heads up. Don't forget, they have their well baby check coming up. So we want to make sure we meet all of those needs. So from 0 to 5, we are making sure the parents, their nutritional needs are met. We're making sure their medical needs are met. And so that is a big component of Head Start that you don't always get in other places.
beyond all of those services, it's got to be really rewarding. You've been, part of the program for 30 years. What are some of the career pathways? There's some opportunities to advance. I mean, when you started, did you start as a site supervisor or did you work your way up?
I worked my way up. I was a teacher, and my unique story is I learned about the program through an ad in the paper. So I answered an ad, went to an interview, applied and went to an interview, and was hired as a lead teacher. And that was a dream for me because I come from families of educators, but I came into the classroom, I was in private centers, and when I was able to go into a program that was going to help the neediest of needs or whatever those families needed, I felt like I just made it to the point of my success. And I didn't realize that was not the end of my story. That was just the beginning of my journey. And so as I continued to support the children in the classrooms, I went and I tried my best to make sure I learned everything I could to help them. I went through violent intervention training. I became a trauma-informed trainer. I did a PITC, which is infant toddler trainer. So I made sure that I had the skills to support the children in the classroom. However, I thought, is this the end of my story? No, it wasn't. I continued by applying and becoming a site supervisor too. And when I became a site supervisor, I was able to help support the teaching staff with the skills that I brought in as a teacher. And having that understanding about what they go through on a day-to-day level as a supervisor, coming from being a teacher, I was able to support the teaching staff. So that's where and as I grew and I became a site supervisor too, I then moved into a larger site, which is one of the largest sites in Contra Costa County program of Head Starts. It's George Miller 3. And so now I'm the supervisor there. And every day I walk in that site, I think about what am I going to do new to support my staff, to support my parents, and to support the children that walk in the school. And that's my goal each day.
Well, it sounds like a perfect fit, and it's something that it's inspiring to hear your story. I mean, who knew if you wouldn't have picked up that newspaper, It's that's amazing. And so now that we've, kind of heard about the resources that go into the program, how the county's role and all of the partnerships, one, your kiddos have gone through most recently. Can you talk about how the program's impacted your children and your family and your parenting as well?
Yeah, it's has been like a very interesting because my first kid is 7 years old. He started there in the program when he was 3. But, my first son he was like a very shy. So when the first time that he get there, I know like it was being like a very hard time, as I would say, like it's very hard to leave your kids because, they start crying, they want to be with you. But really the staff helps a lot to the kids, to help them in that process, to don't cry, to understand like when it's going to happen and everything. And then I didn't know that they were therapists inside the classrooms. So my son started like taking sessions with those therapists when he was on the school. So they helped him a lot. But we didn't know it, that was happening. And then after, because that happened when it was the pandemic, so it was hard to understand all the tools that the program used to provide, right? And then after a while, we start finding with, having a contact with another person outside. Our son was being my socialized with the rest of the kids. And then say what's going on, And then we talk with the teachers, and the teacher told us oh no, that's because your son is taking a therapy with the personnel here, and they are helping a lot with, don't be shy. and now he's doing successful there. Yeah, he's now on second grade, and he's still like doing a lot. He's participating a lot on the schools. He loves their teachers and everything. And my second one was my second kid. He just starts on the kindergarten, and he's a very different kid because he's a very he has a lot of energy, and Ruth helped us a lot, really helped us a lot with him, because it was the one that hard for him to eat food, like different kind of food. He was having a hard time to get a nap. Also, he's taking a speech therapy, but they helped him at the beginning to have like that benefit, And then there's another things that the program helps parents, because sometimes you don't understand what are your kids needed, and the teacher, the personal, because they are very professional and they are very prepared. So everything your kid need, they let you know. And not only, they don't leave it like, your kid is going to need this. No, they help you all the way to get through, to complete like all the process. They don't only like leave you on the air, they help you with that. So my kid really, my little one, he went there full time, and it was amazing because, as Ruth say, at the beginning when we start taking our kids there, it's like the security guard, the person on the front desk, all the person have a smile. So that helps you to feel like you are leaving your kids in a safety place. And then, in my experience, I didn't like school when I was like at that age. And here my kids always asking me like, can we go to school? Even on the weekends, they ask like, today is a school day, because they really are enjoying. So that's how you learn. Like here in this program, they are doing something different.
So you've definitely experienced the connection with the program beyond just your children experiencing the services. You're getting tools, and I mean, what a better testimonial than your children wanting to go to school on the weekends, that they're doing something that's really positive and beneficial. Yes. So that seems to have inspired your further involvement on the Head Start Policy Council. What is that council, and how does it operate? How does it function? Okay,
that was a funny story because when I get involved there, I was in a meeting with Ruth, but not... me and my wife were the only parents connected to that meeting. So each side needs a parent representative. So that day, she asked us if we want to be a part of the policy council as a parent representative for the site, because they needed because the policy council helps to the program to approve like all the movements that they need. And then it's like making a conciliation about what the programs want and what the parents want. So she asked me to be a part of them, say like, okay, let's do it. And then when I start going to the meetings, I apply for the vice chair position, and I didn't have like idea. I just like try to get involved because I was seeing my kids like they're being very happy, right? So I get the position, and then I start like learning all the tools that really the program is. They provide to you, and what is the more important goal. Like maybe they don't have it, but I understand it like that. Like to make the connection parents with kids, because they care. The first care for them is the kids, right? But if your parents are not good, so the kids are they are not going to have a good develop in their lives, and they are not going to be successful, right? So the program helps like to get like that connection with your kids. So to understand them, like what they need, and also what you need to be a good parent. So when I start learning that, it's like, okay, I want to be involved in this. I want to help them because they needed the program needs the parent support. So the policy council role is that help the program in to get like the best things for your kids. That's in like the simplest, because everything they have a you can see like a very professional personnel, right? So when they want to improve something in the program, the parents need to approve it. The policy council need to approve it. So, but they explain to you like how they're going to improve it, how they're going to working on them, and after that, and also they listen to you. If you have a concern or something about that they want to improve or something, they listen to you and they make the change that they needed. And then if the parents are happy, done. So they're gonna make it. Yeah.
It's ultimate accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now that we kind of have this full circle moment where we understand the program, its impact, its benefits to the community. Sarah, I know you have some openings. Let's
do.
fill those openings. So let's talk about how can folks apply for any of the open positions?
Absolutely. So we do have openings in various positions. Our key focus right now is filling all of our teacher vacancies. And so we're doing a lot of work around that. To apply, of course, you can apply on the county website. You can go to the governmentjobs.com /careers / Contra Costa, of course, to apply for any of our Contra Costa County positions. But if you have any questions about our teacher positions, we do encourage that you reach out to us, right? You can go ahead and reach out to us through an email address, which is teach@ehsd.cccounty.us. And you can also go to our ehsd.org website for more information.
Well, thanks to you all very much for being here. That's it for our show. I'm your host, Christy Jordan, Contra Costa County's Public Information Officer. Thanks for joining us on the Government Speak podcast, brought to you by the Office of Communications and Media. But don't just take our word for it. Stay curious, stay connected, and stay informed. Until next time, keep your mind open and your facts straight.